Hello viewers and welcome to GC Sports Mates. We're going to be kicking off with the daily races and it's daily race B at Dragon Trail Seaside. We're going to be driving in the Volkswagen Scirocco GR4, which I've not actually driven very much. In fact, I've only done one lap on Dragon Trail, and as you can see, it did not go well. Starting in 13th out of 16. So trying to learn about the car, trying to see what we can do on this track, and only having one lap to do it in. Didn't go well, but we've got 4 laps in this final to do, so let's see how we get on. It's rolling start, as you can see, coming around the bottom up onto the straight. Things are going to start kicking off, and all we're going to basically try and do from the get-go is get into the slipstream of the guy in front and not lose that toe, because this Scirocco, though quite good in the corners, really does suffer in a straight line. Not helped by the fact that the guy in 12th, who's in an Aston Martin, very quick car in a straight line, is a very good racer, as you will see throughout this entire race. We're going to keep an eye on him as we get very good battles going on as we try and climb the table. So through the first chicane there, just trying to go around the outside of the Corvette there, getting the inside line, coming down to the next bend, but he's going to try and go around the outside, just going overboard a little bit on his speed and going off. That gives us the pass. We're already now up into 12th position. We're just trying to settle in here. We don't want to do anything silly, don't want to make any mistakes like the poor lad who's just gone off. Because on this track, if you just make a slight error, you will very quickly fall down, and you definitely need to keep the toe on this track, especially in a car that has not got very good contact. So coming down the hill now, dropping down, it's going on the outside of another Corvette down, jumping into 11th position, hard on the brakes, so we can turn in nice and early. Now, first lap of Dragon Trail Seaside, and we're going now into the death chicane, and I think anyone who's driven this track just knows how deadly this chicane can actually be. One tiny error, you're in the barrier, and that's it, your race is pretty much over. So trying to keep it nice and tidy while carrying as much speed as we can, just about avoiding the wall, and then squeezing out and coming around and grabbing another couple of positions up into 8th on our first lap. With the Aston Martin there, who was ahead of us at the beginning, just dropping in behind. So I dived into the centre just to try and defend, and knew that Aston Martin just probably could have walked away if it would have got the chance. Back up onto the home straight now after the first lap, into 8th position, quite comfortable there, trying to get in the toe. Strangely enough, the Aston Martin not doing that. He's gone wide, not getting in the toe. Doesn't seem to hinder him too much. Like I said, it's a very quick car. Maybe he was a bit concerned if he'd got in the toe, the guys behind would have caught up a little bit, so he's maybe just trying to break that, not quite sure. But it seems to have worked for him. He has pulled away a little bit from the back pack as they're battling away. So coming down now to the end of the first sector as we come to the sharp right-hander, and the Aston Martin up the inside, he found that I just left the door open just a tiny bit. He found the door open and he went for it and he paid off. Excellent move there from the Aston Martin. All I can think now is I need that position back. But luckily, looking ahead, we see that the Dodge Viper has got a penalty that he has to serve 2-second penalty as well. That's going to cost him. So I know I don't have to battle too much. I'm going to gain at least a position through that if I don't mess up myself. Dropping down now behind the Aston, really not trying to get into the toe too much here because I don't want to outdo myself, don't want to outbrake. As you can see, I'm almost doing very closely to the Corvette. I didn't want to hit it, I didn't want to get a penalty. The toe was catching me up a little bit. I had to slow down a lot, and I didn't think there was going to be enough room, hence the quite evasive manoeuvre. Back into the death chicane now. Let's hope we get this clean. And the Aston almost go into the back of the Aston, should I say, but just about keep it off the back end, and no penalty given. Very tight race here as it's unfolding. Still in 8th position at the end of the second lap. As we go around the bend and coming up onto the straight, just getting the inside line there on the Aston actually. We went a little bit wide. Good for me as I managed to climb up into 7th. Now the Aston taking the toe this time as the gap behind to 9th is just slightly getting bigger, which gives him a little bit of breathing room, but he's not giving me any breathing room. As he comes around the outside, I'm going to try and defend, but I can't do too much. And I'm going to have to let him go past, but he just goes a little bit, and I don't know if he's going to be able to put it back in. But like we said, the Aston very quick, and he manages to hold on, manages to squeeze back past, and I drop back into 8th position. Again, just looking ahead of us, we can see one of the cars has got a penalty. We're just waiting for that to be served now as we come round this bend, and we should go up at least one position as the Aston Martin almost going sideways there as we're coming up and dropping down into the S-bend. Quite a few penalties behind us actually, as you can see, so that should help us with the people catching up. They should fall back a little bit now. Now going through these sectors on hard tyres, quite difficult. As you can see, just running a little bit wide. They didn't want to do that. But there's not much grip on the hards, and it's very, very fast track this, so you've got to really stick your nose in and hope that it sticks. And if you're in the toe, you will get a lot of speed, but it will also affect your downforce, which will affect your cornering speeds. So you've got to be very careful actually, as I almost did, almost going off. So lap 3 now, coming up to the depth chicane. We are now in, we're still in 8th position. Coming through the depth chicane one more time. Going to try and close down a little bit on the Aston, and if we get a good run on him, we might be able to just run him on the outside and get under the bridge. So here we go, we're in his slipstream, we're going to try and pass him on the inside. Is he going to defend? No, he's not. He's going to give us that position, but I've got to make sure he doesn't come back. So I've got to defend, diving into this corner, keep it as tight as I can to the apex, and then not letting him through, just running wide a little bit as the Dodge Viper comes flying across, and luckily I had to avoid. I didn't want to smash into him because that would have just been my race over and his, but luckily he did ghost as I did the evasive manoeuvre, which wouldn't have helped because I went straight through him, but luckily he ghosted, and that's put us up into 6th position. So here we go through the first chicane as the other Corvette just getting all squirrely and losing traction, and we're going up another position. That Corvette having quite a nightmare there in the background, as we can see. So I've got the Audi TT now in front, setting some good pace, and the Aston really pushing me, but I'm going to go up the inside of the TT and just about get through. He left the door open just enough, just like I did for the Aston, and I took advantage, and I'm up into 4th position now. So it's the Aston Martin and the TT both pressuring in this fight now. I cannot afford to make a mistake here as we go through these very difficult fast S-bends on the hard tyres, which means we've got very little traction. And they're right in the slipstream, so if I mess up, they're going to be coming full force straight past. So I'm going to try and keep them at bay now as we're going down the hill towards the corner for the depth chicane. I'm going to have to go defensive here. Don't want to open up the door. As I go defensive, the Aston Martin trying to go around the outside, just maybe carrying a little bit too much speed, and he opens the door again for the TT to try and come back, and the TT has come past into the depth chicane now as we go for the 4th time. Aston Martin dropping down into 6th place. Will he have an answer for that? I'm not sure. He just touched the wall as we come through the depth chicane nice and quick as we go through, and the Aston Martin nowhere to be seen. Not sure what's going on there. We'll go back and have a look. It's a shame if he has wiped out because he has battled very well throughout this entire race. Round the last corner now, no need to do anything too silly as there's a bit of a gap between me and the TT. Going up onto the final straight now, and I will take that. That's 4th position from 13th. We've gone up 9 positions in the 4 laps, so I'm actually very happy with that. Not quite sure where our friend in the Aston Martin has finished. I think it might have been in 12th, which it's such a shame. I mean, the battle for the full 4 laps actually was absolutely amazing. But unfortunately, that's what happens sometimes. Especially in the depth chicane, you just make one tiny error and that's your race done. But what we're going to do, we're just going to go back and we're going to have a quick look at what happened here. So here's the Aston Martin. He tries to move around the outside, just carries a little bit too much speed, which does open the door a little bit. Unfortunately, if the TT wasn't there, he might not have tried to push too much. But obviously he'd want that position back. So you got into the depth chicane. Just touching the wall, and that was it. I think that was all that happened. He hit the wall, grazed the wall actually, and that is just enough to make that depth chicane even more tricky. And getting a 1.5 second penalty as well. Such a shame. I actually quite feel bad because he was a very, very good racer. But coming down now into the final corner and just losing a couple of more places again. And getting run off track. I think the guy in front got a penalty for that, but probably won't help. As our friend in the Aston Martin strangely drives into the pits on the final lap. Not quite sure why. We probably never know. But anyway, that's all from us, from GT Sports Mates. We will see you all next time.